Sample lesson plans. The advantage of having a lesson plan is well known in all contexts of teaching learning. It guides the teacher towards achieving the objectives set out at the beginning. However, the objectives can change as the lesson plan progresses and more negotiation takes place in the course of teaching. The lesson plans modeled on the constructivist approach to learning involves multiple teaching practices and teaching methods or techniques. They seek not only to explore what the learner already knows, but also to reconcile the known with the new. Both the teacher and the learners are active constructors of knowledge, following through a process of questioning, interaction, exploration, and facilitation. In this unit, we will develop two model lesson plans based on the 7E model of learning and the Bloom's revised taxonomy. The first one, the 7E cycle model lesson plan. Let's take the poem, The Road Not Taken. Let's read it. By Robert Frost, this poem is beautiful and popular amongst the classes. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. So if we take this poem and we try and identify what could be the learning objectives, we could identify that perhaps the teacher will want at the end of the lesson the learners to be able to 1. Know the meanings of unfamiliar words using the contextual clues. Understand the poetic intention of the poem through the symbolism and other poetic devices. 3. Explain the structure of the poem, rhyming scheme, and the different poetic devices used. And finally, relate their personal experiences to the core themes of the poem. For teaching aids, we could take projector, chart, videos, handouts, presentations, and task cards. The methods could involve lecture, discussion, and brainstorming. So using the 7E model, the first activity for the first stage would be that of elicit. The skills focused on would be speaking. For the process, the teacher would elicit responses from the learners to find out their background knowledge. For example, have you read any poems? Which type of poem do you like the most? Outcome for this activity would be that the learner's interest and motivation would be increased. For the second activity, for the second stage related to engage, the skills could be focused on listening. The process adopted by the teacher could involve display of charts and creating an atmosphere for the poem. The teacher may also play a video on making choice and ask questions based on the video. For example, first question could be, think of the time when you were forced to make an important decision. What were its consequences? Or another question, were you happy about the decision you made or did you regret it later? Or the third question, do you think the decisions we make will affect our future? The outcomes would be discussion and creative thinking. In activity 3, for the stage of explore, the skills could be focused on reading. The process adopted would be that the learner opens the text and reads. The teacher may read the text or play a video. Learners may also read the text silently. The outcome would be comprehending the poem. For activity 4, in the stage of explain, the skills focused on would again be reading. The process adopted would include that learners identify the difficult words in the poem and the teacher helps. For example, diverged, to deviate, wood, forest, undergrowth is understood as bushes, just as fair, understood as attractive, trodden, to understood as walk in a specified way. The outcome would be vocabulary development. In activity 5, in the stage elaborate, the skills focused on could be speaking. In the process, learners could form groups to attempt to find rhyming words. They also could respond to the questions that the teacher poses. Rhyming words that could be identified could include would, could, both, growth, fair, there, claim, same, and the like. The outcome would be identifying the poetic devices and the rhyme. In activity 6, the stage of elaborate, skills could include speaking. The process could include the teacher elaborating on the poem and asking the following questions. 1. Where did the two roads diverge? 2. Which road was grassy and wanted where? 3. Why was the road grassy and wanted where? The outcome would be elaboration and discussion. Activity 7, which includes a stage of evaluate, could focus on listening skills. In the process, learners are assessed by scaffolding and maybe through multiple choice questions. The outcome would be appreciation of the poem. In activity 8, again, there could be a stage of evaluate. In this, maybe we would want to test them on their reading skills. The process could include learners answering comprehension questions based on their understanding of the poem. 1. What does the yellow wood symbolize? 2. Why did the poet feel sorry? 3. Which road did the poet choose and why? 4. What was the poet's dilemma? 5. What do the two roads stand for? 6. Do you think the poet was sure of coming back to that road someday? Why? Why not? 7. Do you think the poet was happy with his choice? Why or why not? The outcome could be that of assessment, recapitulation, comprehension, and critical thinking. In activity 9, which focuses on extend, the skills focused on could be speaking. In the process, learners could be engaged in a group discussion on the themes of the poem by empathizing. For example, they could focus on indecisiveness, individualism, and non-conformity. The outcome would be application of knowledge to real-life situations. We could also have an activity 10, again focused on the stage of extend. In this, the focus could be on writing skills. In the process, learners could be asked to write in a diary, assuming themselves to be characters or things of the text. The outcome would be applying the understanding or knowledge from the poem to real-life situations. There could be another activity, activity 11, which could also focus on the extend stage. The skills here could be focused on life skills. In the process, the teacher could seek learners' response to a real-life problem. The outcome could be decision-making or even career planning.